my take was, well, one, I'm not going to talk about the Colts until week 9, whenever their bye week was. And 2, they might as well have just started Riley Leonard. So let's see what I have to say about that. And guess who does not launch the ball ever is Daniel Jones. Ever. Doesn't throw over the middle and barely throws go balls. So, like, he does not want to throw deep, and he doesn't want to throw over the middle. He doesn't throw anything with timing. It's how he's been since Duke. This is how he has played since Duke. He's the exact same guy. And like as a backup, fine, but like as a competing for the number 1 job, not what I want. Like as a backup, he can get you out of a game because he can run.
Totally.
Like guys that can run, that's fine. I know I'd almost rather see Leonard in this offense too because he fits this type too. Not even joking. Might as well start Riley Leonard and just see what he's got because you know what Daniel Jones is. Like you just do. Like you have to know at this point. So. So Daniel Jones leads the NFL in success rate right now, 58%. He's first in net yards attempt.
That was so perfect, by the way. Your face.
He hasn't been sacked. He has been sacked, but he's first in sack rate allowed. He's 4th in explosive passes because he's pushing the ball. So, I'm folding, hard fold on that one. Yeah, you caught me here. You caught me bluffing, I guess. No, but that, that was a hard fold there. Maybe a little overreacting to the news about their quarterback plan, but so far the Colts offense, want me to rattle off some crazy stats and we could decide whether these are going to hold up or not? I think there's some truth in the middle here. Through 3 weeks, they're currently tied, the Colts, for the 4th highest offense success rate since 2011 when the new CBA was signed. So that's kind of a nice little cutoff. You got the 2011 Patriots, considered one of the best offenses of all time, to 2023 Dolphins, who were very fun for a few weeks until it got cold and sad. The 2018 Chiefs, a.k.a. Patrick Mahomes' first year starting, one of the best offenses we've seen in modern times. 2021 Cowboys, which were a fun kind of a moment, during that season. That's who the Colts are tied with. They are in the top 5. Their passing game is the 6th highest passing success rate since 2011. Got the 2011 Patriots, 23 Dolphins, 24 Bills, which you might remember is the MVP Josh Allen team, 2019 Cowboys, 2018 Saints, which was the hyper-efficient Drew Brees, Michael Thomas slant boy era, and then the 2025 Colts. They've only had 2 3-play drives this season. 3.8% of their drives have been 3 plays and punt. The league average is 22.5%. They're averaging 3.69 points a drive, which is very nice. They're scoring on 77% of their drives. The league average is 40%. Daniel Jones is playing the best football of his career. He's not even just targeting the slot over and over. He's throwing real big boy routes. He knows where to go with the ball. He's making some plays happen with his legs. Taking a few too many hits, I will say. He's got still got some of that recklessness to him, where I'm comparing him to the battering ram in Lord of the Rings. Is it Grok or Grot? Grond, one of those things. But man, this offense is a lot of fun on rewatch. I think Daniel Jones has been a supreme operator. Really has. The run game has been cool. The O-line's been solid. Bortolini is definitely a target, but they are able to overcome it. I think the skill guys have all looked great. Alec Pierce has leveled up. He has a concussion right now. Pittman has a nice role. Downs has his role. Even A.D. Mitchell had a catch on Patrick Surtain last week. And then Tyler Warren hit the ground running. They're using him perfectly. They know how to kind of use him as a move guy. Jonathan Taylor looks great. Yeah, I'm definitely folding. I actually am enjoying talking about the Colts. I'm enjoying rewatching. Do I think they're a top 5 offense I've seen in the last 15 years? Do I think that's going to hold up? Probably not, but I do think this could be a good operation in a wide open division that they're undefeated at the top at. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll gladly talk about the Colts. I'll gladly fold on this because I like good offenses, and kind of this whole thing happened. Sorry, Riley Leonard. Sorry, Anthony Richardson. I think Daniel Jones has deserved everything that's happening right now because he is playing really, really well. So I'm curious what you think of the Colts, because I know their pass catchers have been a thing for you for a few years. I was going to say a thorn in your side. I don't know if it's a thorn or not, but what do you think about the Colts so far, Matt?
Oh, I mean, the thorn in my side was that there's like just so many guys here and nobody can maximize them. But guess what? Like, they're all popping right now, which is really nice. Not obviously from like a fantasy standpoint, but I mean, they're all like doing their thing in this offense, which is really cool to see. So yeah, couldn't care less about any other prior take. Like, as long as this is working out, I think this is great, because it's just frustrating to me when a group of guys like this is like for a long time, it was, they just, at times they didn't have like all the pieces around the quarterback. But now they do. And I think this is why it was kind of frustrating to watch last season, is because, man, they've got like everything that you could possibly want. And especially last season where, Michael Pittman obviously wasn't healthy. That's one thing that, like, as much as I enjoy Josh Downs' game, and I do think that he is probably the most dynamic, maybe the best receiver on this roster, I also really like Michael Pittman, and was like one of the original people kind of out on a limb for Pittman as a very, very underrated receiver. And last season, he just wasn't healthy. Last season, he played through a back injury because he is like that guy for the team and everything. Mm-hmm. And man, he really is on fire. Like, his game overlaps really well with Daniel Jones. So does Josh Downs. And like, he had an incredible play last week where he rips open down the middle of the field. He's been great. Tyler Warren's been exactly what they wanted. And yeah, Jonathan Taylor, I mean, if we redrafted today for fantasy football, like, I think Jonathan Taylor might be the number 1 overall pick. And he was a guy that just didn't get talked about enough because everybody was obsessed with talking about
you kind of kept pulling your hair out about that. You're like, hey, this guy had like 1,500 yards, whatever, 1,400 and something yards in 14 games. You're like, are we just forgetting about Jonathan Taylor? Like, I remember you saying that specifically when we talked about them.
He was so easy to forget about because of all the drama with the quarterback. And then again, trying to figure out, all right, well, if Anthony Richardson is under center, what does the offense look like, and which pass catcher gets maximized? And then what if it's Daniel Jones? Do we get the PPR scam with Wan'Dale Robinson? And instead, like, we're getting full on Jonathan Taylor on the field all the time, catching passes, like being completely impactful. And yeah, I'm glad you gave a shout out to Alec Pierce, because he was a guy who I thought might waste away with Daniel Jones, but Jones has let a couple of heaters rip to Pierce downfield. And that, I think, that to me is like, Daniel Jones is very comfortable in this environment, because he's a guy that when I think he is comfortable and he's right physically, which is something to monitor because you mentioned taking the hits and everything, and that's been a problem over the last couple of years. He is comfortable and confident enough to let it rip, but I think he has to be very comfortable and very confident. And I think that's just a testament to this overall offensive environment, that he has felt the confidence and comfortability enough to target Alec Pierce, who is like the antithesis of a Daniel Jones type of receiver.
I know. I even just looking at the numbers, because even just watching, I'm like, man, he just has a chemistry with Pierce, but like really just everybody right now. So I was like, because I just remember that good Giants year he had, relatively good year. It was just slot target, bootleg. And then this is like a real offense. Like, he's dropping back and reading the field out. Like, it's not just a spoon-fed training wheels offense. There's some Steichen is pushing all the right buttons right now. I got to give him props.
Of course.
He's always been a good play designer. It's why I've always been kind of a Colts optimist. And I just was like, well, this is Jones. What are you going to do with him? There is a play against the Titans. They run mesh, and mesh is really fun because you could do some tweaks with it, how you have some routes, but you can really get a feel for how the quarterback's seeing it. Everybody runs mesh. So mesh is 2 crossers, usually a middle route behind it, which is a dig or an over. They ran a version where it's the 2 crossers. They got the over route with Downs, and then they got Pierce running a deep dig behind that. And let's put it this way. I never thought Daniel Jones would throw that in his entire career if they ran that play 100 times. Never. And he calmly progresses through mesh where he has, he could have hit one of the crossers and been fine, 6-yard gain, cool. But this is always what I talk about, the quarterbacks that I like. I always want the guys that push the ball, because I'd rather have that 120-yard gain than try and get 3-4 straight 5-6-yard gains. That's just the math of the NFL. There he is, calmly reading out mesh, hitting a backside dig in between 2 guys on time, right on the money. I was like, man, this is confidence. This is the epitome of a quarterback playing with confidence, that he's getting to what I think is the no pun intended, but the 301 level read on mesh. And I just never seen, Jones has always just been a point and shoot guy to me. We have our target, his target map up from last game. You can see that little green dot next to the touchdown. And that's that dig throw I'm talking about. I've never, he's really right heavy though. But I never really kind of
that is interesting.
That's interesting, huh? I've just never have seen him make that type of read and throw. Like, I always thought he was kind of point and shoot, one read and scramble kind of guy. And his rushing ability has always been underrated. He's always been an efficient scrambler, scrambled a little too much in the past. But I mean, on design runs, he's 8 for 9. They've had 9 design runs for him. 8 of them have been successful. And again, he's first in sack rate, and he doesn't have a pick so far this year. Some of that will regress. Obviously, they play, they played the Broncos and played them well. But, I do think that it's like, this is more real. This is for sure a good offense, even with Daniel Jones. Do I think it's going to be a top 5 I've ever seen? No. But I do think that this could sneaky be a top 12, top 10 offense pretty easily if they design plays like this and everybody plays so confidently. And so I don't know. I'm glad to kind of eat crow on this. This is like maybe the Lions offense. I'm kind of very happy to fold maybe some of those takes I had, or maybe some of the hesitancy I had about them, because it's good designs. It's good stuff. It's good ball. Even if they've played lesser defenses and stuff. So it's been good stuff. We are going to take our last break because we just can't help talking about the AFC South for 45 minutes. But we're going to take our last break and come back with a few more takes we'll play poker with. We are back. Now it's time for one of yours, Matt. What is the take that you want to play a little bit of poker with? And I have one that might latch onto this one.
Yeah, Panthers win the NFC South. I felt much more confident about folding on this one before week 3. In my defense, they did obviously blow out the Falcons 30-0. That was cool, but I think that says a little bit more about the Falcons than it does about the Carolina Panthers.
The receiver coach.
They fired their receiver coach. That's a new one. Don't see a lot of like position coaches getting dumped in the middle of the season. No. That being said, what am I saying? It's not even the middle of the season. We're not even through the first quarter of the season. They're firing their wide receiver. They're firing their receiver coach. That's on my radar. But Panthers winning the NFC South, I'll still fold on this one. Think I was trying to get cute, trying to pick somebody other than Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I mean, the Bucs are banged up for sure. I also think if we do, I was talking with Stone about this. I think on the NFC South preview, I probably picked the Bucs, but then on the playoff bracket, I think I picked the Panthers. So, this is how you win. I was right at one point or another. I just have the Panthers have. Man, the defense is still a problem, and the fact that they lost Robert Hunt on the offensive line, I think, is going to be a bigger problem when they go against a team where the quarterback's not throwing them throwing his own team out of the game consistently. So definitely skeptical. There's some signs and signals, good things in the offense, which we'll talk about in a second, but they've also come in like dramatically unprepared in weeks 1 and 2, which is kind of again on my radar. So yeah, I'll fold on the Panthers winning the NFC South. Maybe they can get to respectability. That would be a win, I think, based on how the season has started, but definitely I don't think they're a division winning team. Yeah,
it was. I like the play. I liked maybe chasing that a little bit. There's like the defense can't get worse, right? They did pitch a shutout, so I think that game real. So, hey, they played the Cardinals tough at the end there. So we'll see kind of how they kind of end up and everything. But I don't think that you could be too blasted on this one, because I do think it was pretty, I understood the line of thinking. But when offensive line gets hurt, Xavier Legette looks like he regressed a little bit too. But who
Woof.
Does look
we need Coker back.
And this was, I know. We need Coker back. Bad. I'm sorry. But what is looking good was one. I'll take that. I want to play with that. It's also Panthers related. I'm double downing on this one. That's Tetairoa McMillan to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Feeling pretty good, even though there's another receiver in the NFC South that's competing with him, Emeka Egbuka, who probably is going to get even more touches with Mike Evans getting hurt and everything. But McMillan looks exactly how I envisioned him. Just big boying, rebounding on guys, one-hand catches, really smooth after the catch. Yeah, he doesn't have that top end speed, but his acceleration and his body control are just so good that he can create that kind of simple yak. Stat wise, all the parts, and again, we're talking about Rookie of the Year, so counting stats matter. He has 216 receiving yards, which is 14th overall. Doesn't have a touchdown though. He has 6 receptions of 20 or more yards. That leads all receivers. He is 6th in receiving first downs with 12, 11th in first downs per route, 1.91 yards per route, which is 23rd. 11.5 success rate per route, which is 25th. And if Bryce Young was average, these numbers would look even better. because I just think that McMillan has just hit the ground running. He's winning against guys, winning against press, doing some nice things after the catch. I think the Cardinals game, he had a couple nice ones on top of some almost highlight reel catches. So yeah, I'm double downing on McMillan being offensive rookie of the year. It was 14-1 last month. Not sure what it is now, odds betting, but I think, you look at the other rookies, Cam Ward, the stats aren't there yet, even though I do think he's playing nice. Like, also Mike Evans, Ashton Genty. We just talked about the Raiders and the question marks there.
Nope.
Marion Hampton might start picking it up because Najee Harris got hurt, but I think, that's the one that's kind of hanging out there. But yeah, McMillan looks the part so far. It's been pretty fun to watch.
I agree with you. Week 3 against the Cardinals, I thought, you said it so perfectly. This was the exact way I thought he would be used and play in the NFL. With so many just deep dig routes where he would get on top of guys right away and then just snap it inside, and then he had the 40-yarder where Bryce Young pins it on him and he just can go after the catch. He's very smooth. He's still if I'm nitpicking one part of his game, and it's because it was the thing I nitpicked on him as a prospect, is that I think he just doesn't have the second gear to like stack guys on the perimeter and win on go routes. That has shown up so far in the NFL, but truly everything else has been fantastic. His ability to win against press, his ability to settle into zone coverage, his ability to win against man, particularly in the intermediate area, has all been great. And again, that was the thing with him as a prospect. Everything was great except that one little tiny thing, which that one little tiny thing can be the difference between you being the 15th best receiver in the NFL and the 5th best receiver in the NFL. But like, I'm very confident that the Panthers have a hit here on their hands. They have a number 1 receiver on their hands in Tetairoa McMillan. I think he's been great and can only continue to get better. And as long as Bryce Young is protected, I do think the two of them have like a nice connection. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that.
Yeah, the definite confidence in each other, which is cool. And he's really good on scramble drills. Like his awareness on those is one of the things I really like.
Like he was used to it, as you said, with him as a prospect.
More receiving yards than anyone, more routes than anyone off scramble drills. And then that was with another sub 5'11" quarterback. So no, I've really enjoyed watching him. The Panthers have been Chuba Hubbard's become one of my more favorite backs because of just how sound he is too. So there are some shining lights here, some bright spots here, and McMillan I think is a big part of that.